Welcome to the show. Chris Graham here with Ray Petrie. We're going to talk about AEW Dynamite heading into full gear in a couple of weeks. And Ray, from reading your review, you really love the show. I think at least the last couple of weeks have been really top notch from my standpoint too. What stands out most to you? We'll start there.
I love the Hurt Syndicate's debut, and I think the two tag matches were great. There's a lot of talent on display for this episode, which makes sense given the Wednesday Night War revival, so to speak, with NXT.
Yeah, I okay. Let's. I will start with I am heading into full gear. I am not very enthused to say the least about the world title situation, but everything else leading into to that, I'm excited about. So, this is one where, I know Tony's going to want to book the pay-per-view traditionally and put the world title in the main event, but he could have any of a number of main events on this one that would not involve the world title.
This is going to be a really strong pay-per-view card, and it's probably the most excited I've been for a pay-per-view since Dynasty or Evolution, maybe. Swerve and Bobby Lashley, Jay White, Hangman Page, MJF, Adam Cole, Chris Statlander, Mercedes Moné. There's a lot of good matches on this card. And I'm sure Orange Cassidy and Moxley will be a good match, but it seems very predictable.
Yeah, yeah.
And Ricochet and Konosuke Takeshita, which sort of ended the show. Another great match I'm going to love.
And that's the part of it too. Aside from the world title match, I don't really know where things are going to go with really any of those other matches. Let's start with Bobby Lashley, Swerve Strickland. I would assume that, if you're booking this, Lashley is fresh to the company. You'll want to give him a win over a recent former world champion. But that said, I can't wait to see that match.
It could be a toss up. I mean, I could see either one winning. I could see it being a draw. I think when you look at both of those guys, if whoever does win, you have to assume they'll be in the title picture soon. And I just don't expect that to happen. I don't foresee either of them challenging Moxley anytime soon. So in my mind, is it going to be a draw and this continues going forward? Is it going to be Lashley beating Swerve and Swerve tries to, reclaim his victory? It's tough to say. I just hope it's not a one and done. I hope it continues on at least till the end of the year.
So we'll talk about MJF Adam Cole, but we have to talk about Adam Cole versus Malachi Black on Wednesday's show. You weren't as big a fan of last week's match for Adam Cole against Buddy Matthews, but from reading your review, you really were into this match, Adam Cole and Malachi Black. Tell me your thoughts. Tell us your thoughts on why this match was really a hit.
I think Malachi Black showed Cole a little bit more respect than Buddy Matthews did. And obviously Buddy Matthews, whose goal was to test Cole, but Malachi Black and Cole have such a rich history together on NXT, funny enough. And it was nice to see some of the callbacks to their matches on the black and gold brand. And I think Malachi showed Cole the kind of respect you would show someone of Cole's caliber, someone who's been in the title picture, who was the NXT World Champion when it sort of was a World Championship, who's a Ring of Honor champion. Cole has the pedigree, and I think Malachi Black showed him necessary respect, and it was a good back and forth match. And I just love watching Malachi Black in the ring. I think he's so fun. I love his striking. Um, so I enjoyed it a lot.
And the ending to this match, not just the ending, with Adam Cole getting the victory, but then the post match where Cole reached out to shake hands. Malachi Black instead gave him a big hug. They kind of were chatting, without a microphone, so it made it feel like they were chatting about something real. I noted that there was initial speculation from fans that this was Malachi Black's goodbye, especially because when he walked down the ramp, Adam Cole grabbed a microphone and thanked him, and there was a feeling of that. But then Malachi Black, addressing that after the show on social media, saying, "No, that's not the case. This is not the end for me." Your thought was, and I guess without even having that, because by the time you sent me that column yesterday, I don't think that had all played out. That the this was just a part of maybe a face turn for the House of Black.
Yeah, I initially took it as a face turn, and Malachi Black's response to the crowd looked like that of someone who's not accustomed to being cheered. Like it was uh, vexing him almost. Like, wow, I haven't been cheered in a long time. I guess after the show, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select reported that he was leaving, or the thought was he was leaving. Malachi Black denied it. I don't know, is that true? I don't know. Maybe he still is leaving at the beginning of 2025, but he was on Collision last night, which will air tomorrow night. So, we'll see going forward how this goes. But, Brody King turned face against Darby Allin at the end of their match at Wrestle Dream. Buddy Matthews certainly seemed like a face after his match with Cole last week. He shook his hand. So I think the House of Black's just turning face, and maybe this is building towards them regaining that trios title from the Death Riders. We'll have to see. But
We talked about how this is leading into what feels like is leading into MJF Adam Cole at the pay-per-view. Now, the AEW is presenting us with the idea that it could be a triple threat. Adam Cole even mentioned that in his post-match story time. Um, if that's the case, because the way they're setting this up, MJF likes to have guys go through challenges to get a match with him, and they would both have to win three matches in a row to get there. If Roddy Strong is in this match, the tease from Adam Cole last night was that it will be a 2-on-1, and we know that when things are overly teased like that, this could lead to some discord between him and Roddy Strong. I don't know that we're going to see a triple threat, but they're hinting towards it, and that seems like the logical direction things could go in.
I don't really want to see Roderick Strong involved in the match.
I don't either. I don't either.
So, uh, you know, but I guess, is there a possibility that maybe MJF does something really heinous to Roderick Strong? Maybe breaks his neck, pays someone to hurt him, to injure him. We'll see. Roderick Strong is at 1 win so far, right? So he has 2 weeks to collect two more wins. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right.
I mean, there's also the possibility. I mean, do we expect Adam Cole to pin Konosuke Takeshita clean? Adam Cole might lose next week. I wouldn't be shocked, I guess, if he beat Takeshita, but it wouldn't look good for Takeshita. Um, Being a champion in the company and someone that they're building to be a future top guy. In a way, I almost find this kind of unpredictable because with that match, it's hard for me to believe that Cole can beat him after beating Buddy Matthews and Malachi Black back to back weeks. But I hope Roderick Strong is not involved in this pay-per-view match.
Uh, Yeah, because the buildup for the last year and a half with their friendship and the devil thing that never got resolved last year was for those two guys to eventually have the blow off there. So let's switch now. Adam Page and Jay White. They have a little bit. They were both in New Japan. They were younger guys when they were both there at the same time. Then Adam Page becomes AEW World Champion for over a year. Jay White has a run with the IWGP Championship. So these are two guys who are world champion level guys in a match without a title on the line. So that makes it so that you can book it the way you want to. There's no repercussions for a championship reign or anything like that. I'm thinking that, Jay White, he's getting a push. It feels like he's coming off an injury. Adam Page could play a role here in elevating Jay White, who's not really had much of an elevation as a singles guy. He had that brief run with a title match against MJF last year, but other than that, he's been in tag teams and six-man matches. So, but God, just the idea of these two guys in the ring with the talent level both have is intriguing.
I'm loving this feud. I didn't write about it in the review because it was already fairly long and it was sort of inconsequential. But Hangman Page dragging him out there behind the curtain into the crowd and fighting, Juice Robinson coming out, and I enjoyed this a lot. I love the Bang Bang Gang. Um, I like to say that name slowly. And I love Jay White and I love Hangman Page. And Jay White got the win at Wrestle Dream, so I'm inclined to believe Hangman Page is going to recover that. But we'll see that they have already had how many matches together? Six, something like that.
Hmm.
But in a way, this could almost maybe be a trilogy of its own between the Wrestle Dream this match, and then they could run it back at World's End for the rubber match. We'll have to see. But Hangman Page is kind of invincible. You can do anything to him. He can come back and make himself look great again. So he could lose and he would be fine. It just really depends. I think people are really behind Jay White though. They're ready to see Switchblade wrestle for that title. Um, I kind of wonder if this is going to bleed into the Continental Classic though. Both these guys are going to be entered in and continue this feud that way. I'm interested to see how it goes.
I'm with you. Adam Page is beyond now needing to not lose to maintain his status. He's got status now. He's a made man. And as far as you're saying, bang bang gang slowly. The guy over my now that I've redone my set here, my Zoom set here, the guy over my shoulder, Jim Cornette, just does call them the gang bang gang. So because that's it just naturally flows out, right?
Right.
So, on this show, getting back to reviewing the show for a second, a surprising, and I shouldn't say surprisingly good match. My favorite match, I think, on this show was Jamie Hayter, Penelope Ford. I wouldn't have looked at the card before the show and said, "Oh yeah, that's the one that's going to stand out to me." But this was a great match.
Styles make matches in wrestling, and these two have very different styles. Penelope Ford's very evasive. She has those Matrix-like moves with the bridges and stuff like that. And Jamie Hayter's a powerhouse. Um, I really do think there's kind of there has to be anxiety for both of these women because in their absence, the division has changed so much. And they're coming back and trying to find a footing in it when there's only two titles, only so many spots on the show to be televised, to have matches, to have feuds and angles. And the winner of this kind of, enters the fray with better standing. We expect Jamie Hayter to win. She is the former champion. She probably will one day be a champion again. But this is a great match. And Penelope Ford, while she has wrestled on Collision, it wasn't a long match. And this was a great um, stage for her to show what she can do because a lot of people, well, actually, I don't say that. I was going to say that maybe fans didn't remember her or weren't watching when she was on, but they probably were watching because more of them were watching then than they are now. But it's been a while since she's been in the AEW, so it was a nice way for her to showcase what she can do.
Yeah, Excalibur noted on commentary during this match that a lot of her early matches were on the YouTube shows, and she had wins over Willow Nightingale. I'm trying to think of all the people he mentioned that she had wins over, but she had at Riho was another, um,
Rhea and Julia Hart.
and Julia Hart. Yeah, yeah, back when they were still developmental wrestlers.
Yeah.
And when Penelope Ford was more of a featured wrestler at that time, and so it like you said, since their injury, she was out for 2 years. The division has changed, but this match really helped showcase her as someone. Yeah, she won't get a push. She won't ever be a champion necessarily there, but JR would say she's a good hand. She's someone great to have around. She's got a great look and a personality that can be used. And she works. She works well. So was really impressed. Hey, let's move to so the mystery partner. They swerved us. I thought that was a great swerve. Ricochet had talked about having a mystery partner. He could a partner of his own choosing. We all thought it would be Mark Davis because of his recent return from a long injury of his own. Given that the opponents were going to be Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher, and swerved us. They brought Willie Hobbs back. Powerhouse Hobbs is back, and I guess we knew that he was going to be coming back sometime, but did not expect to do it here. Great swerve. He looked great. He's a guy that I keep saying he's got to be a champion of some sort at some point in his AEW run, and glad to see that he's back.
This was great economic booking from Tony Khan because you have Kyle Fletcher's feud with Will Ospreay. You have Ricochet's feud with Konosuke Takeshita for that international championship. And then you have what I think kind of in the background is Will Hobbs, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Ricochet are both guys who could possibly join the Hurt Syndicate one day. They're guys that we have both on this show, and obviously a lot of fans have speculated might join this faction. Earlier in the show, the Hurt Syndicate approached Ricochet. Have to admit, all four of them look quite nice together. And MVP was taking note of this match, and so I mean, there's so much going on here. Mark Davis comes out at the end. Will Ospreay comes out at the end. You just have so many feuds and personalities intersecting. It was really smart, super entertaining, and Hobbs and Ricochet, some great improvised offense. They were a lot of fun to watch together.
I'm looking ahead now to the shows. We're recording this on Friday, so tonight's Rampage, tomorrow's Collision. As you noted, the Collision is already in the tape deck there. They're working on that. It was already recorded last night, Thursday night. Um, on the show for tonight, Rampage, the matches that you show here, I will say none of the matches are, this is a Rampage booking, but Leo Rush Commander. I love both these guys. And it doesn't really matter who wins. It's one of those things, but I just love these guys. I want to tune in just for this match.
Yeah, this is a great, I guess in New Japan it'd be a junior heavyweight bout. But yeah, these are two awesome competitors. If you like frenetic wrestling, this would be a great match to watch. Hikaru Shida versus Viva Van. I would bookmark that. I bet that's going to be a great match if it's given time. Um, have you watched much of Beef?
I can't say that I have any recollection of Beef yet. No.
He is whose cousin is he? What's JD Drake's partner's name?
Oh,
Anthony Henry.
oh yeah, 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 yeah.
He's his cousin or brother-in-law or something like that. He's pretty entertaining.
Okay.
That'd probably be a good match. And I love the Martin brothers. Both of those, they are so good at wrestling.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
young. But yeah, Leo Rush. It's unfortunate he has not. Has he had a promo on Dynamite yet?
He had, I keep saying that. So he's really fun to watch in the ring.
Yeah.
He's even better on the mic. Give the guy a mic.
Yeah, he is so entertaining. I remember when AEW came to Norfolk in 2021, he was in the tag team with Dante Martin, and he was doing promos for Dante, and they were such an entertaining act. And worthy of matches on Dynamite. I don't understand why he hasn't been given a microphone yet.
He was, I mean, WWE wanted to turn him into a mouthpiece. They did for a while there with Bobby Lashley. He's great at it.
Yeah.
And he's also fun to watch. And so, this is a guy you should push if you had a cruiserweight or light heavyweight or whatever middleweight title, whatever you want to call it. This would be your champion. Either your champion or your top heel in one way or the other there, and just let him talk trash on people. I don't know. I don't understand it either. Looking ahead to tomorrow night, then. This is a match that is interesting for me to point out. Nick Wayne and AR Fox. I love AR Fox. He's a guy that's never going to get a push for lots of reasons, I guess. I don't know what the reasons are, but there has to be reasons because he looks good. He's in great shape. He works great. Maybe there's not a lot there in terms of mic ability, and he's a teacher. He's a you know he teaches in wrestling school, and he's so good at teaching. But him and Nick Wayne, this should be a banger of a match.
Oh, absolutely. These guys have they're very familiar with one another, both Pacific Northwestern guys. I'm wanting to say Nick Wayne has trained under Air Fox. Is that correct?
I
I
think
don't know.
that's right. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know how extensively, but obviously they're familiar with one another.
Right.
And Nick Wayne, unfortunately, because of this Christian Cage patriarchy group, has not really been given the spotlight he probably should be. Is he even 20 years old?
That's right. I think if he is, he just turned 20, right? He's a
Yeah,
young guy. Yeah.
very young. And Billy Starks is in the same boat for me. She's on Ring of Honor, obviously, in a featured position with Athena, who is the star of Ring of Honor. But they're so young. It's almost a disservice to have Nick Wayne and Billy Starks be heels right now. But anyways, it'll be a great match, and Nick Wayne will be able to showcase what he can do in a more intimate setting with someone he's familiar with.
Right. Yeah. When guys have that history together, that makes for good TV matches, no doubt. The other one that I'm looking forward to, I don't really care about Death Riders versus Conglomeration. That's the match that will, draw in, people maybe to watch, but it won't be that good, I don't think. But the Outrunners and Top Flight in this Full Gear four-way contender series, um, Top Flight's obviously Top Flight. You just talked about them. I mean, they're so fun to watch. And the Outrunners, so I love how this story has evolved. They got a match on either a Collision or Dynamite some time ago, a year ago, past a year ago, something like that. They were just local talent in the local area that the show was being run in, and AEW likes to bring in local talents to serve as enhancement talents on some of the shows. And these guys, unlike a lot of those local talents, these guys had this gimmick, this 80s, throwback gimmick. And they've been jobbers for a long, long time, and now it's like, hey, yeah, they're good. Let's give them a push. Let's see what happens. I'll be interested to see. They've been partnered with, aligned with whatever with FTR in some vignettes, and that's helping get some attention to them. I doubt they get a win here. I don't know that I want them to get a win here because it's Top Flight, but who knows? I mean, they're getting a push, so maybe they do get a surprise win.
They are massively over everywhere
Yeah.
in the South and the Northwest. In the UK, they are really over right now. And they have this thing going on with FTR. The merchandise looks great. The vignettes are awesome. On one hand, I ask myself, how far can you take what is essentially a glorified meme? I mean, they're this 80s throwback tag team. They're not great in the ring, but they're not bad. They have personality, which goes a long way in the professional wrestling business. But I wonder, I believe that FTR is going to eventually turn heel on them. FTR are great heels. They've been baby faces for years now, and I think they've gotten as much mileage out of that as they can at this point. So I wonder if they're going to enter this four-way with FTR and Private Party and whoever else is in contention. And I wonder if FTR is going to turn heel on them at this event or soon. I wonder what, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities. I don't admittedly watch Collision as much as I should because it's Saturday night and I have a life. But I love Collision. I think it's the best show AEW has going right now, and that runners are just one reason. It's such a diverse show, but I like how close knit it is, and they rely on the same guys every week for the most part, like FTR or the House of Black. So, anyways, I'm excited for that match, and I think the Outrunners are going to win.
I'll have to watch this one on DVR because I'll be covering the UVA Pitt football game on Saturday night. So, and that's what it disrupts at this time of year. Saturday night is a football, a college football night for a lot of folks. So,
Yeah.
that being what it is, let's talk, Ray, about you have an interview that you did this week that you'll be writing up. Talk about what you did.
I had the great pleasure of interviewing Mark Fleming, a former Mid-Atlantic Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and UWFI veteran, um, who was also the protege of Luthez and for a time ran Luthez's school. He was the only and the head trainer of the school. Um, he for a while held for like really old NWA fans, Luthez's original belt was repurposed as something called the International Championship, ironically. And Mark Fleming held that title and defended it all across the world, in the Carolinas, in Japan, across the United States. Um, this guy has had a very fascinating life, a very interesting journey into professional wrestling, and a unique approach. Like Luthez, he fancied himself what Luthez would call a hooker. I think today we would call it a shooter.
Mhm.
He took wrestling very seriously, treated it like a sport as opposed to entertainment. and has very strong thoughts about the business now and how how far south he thinks it's gone. I think he thinks it's deviated too much from its intended purpose. And it was a really great interview, very insightful, a lot of cool stories. I highly recommend you all check it out when it's posted, which should, I assume, either be this evening or tomorrow. And I have a great write up that's going to follow that interview, that video, kind of tying it all together in chronological order because we bounced around a lot. You know, I had a lot of questions. He had a lot of thoughts. So it was really great, a lot of fun.
I'll be fascinated to hear and read what a shooter hooker thinks about it's modern wrestling. Because I have a lot of the same thoughts. We've gotten too far from the reality. You can have fun with what you have fun with, but yeah, we still have to understand that it's supposed to look like a sport. I'm not sure it always does anymore. So looking forward to that. Yeah, looking forward to that. Good luck with that story, and we'll look forward to here we'll have on the YouTube page, the video, the interview, and then also on the Augusta Free Press as well, the story linking to that. So, looking forward to that from you, Ray. Well, Ray, so thanks for all your input here, and for our viewers and listeners out there. Yeah, check out Augusta Free Press for Ray's story that'll be coming up here in the next day or two. And for Ray's reviews, also we have a pro wrestling page on our website that you can easily find archived all those reviews. And so, well, Ray, thanks again for all your time. Great talking with you today.
Thank you, sir.